Hey, Rich Cole back again. Welcome to part two of today's podcast. And I talk about changes coming in the FBI. I talk about Ukraine and Gaza. So here we go. Regarding one development, Kash Patel was sworn in as the head of the FBI, which I think is great. Chris Wray, who was the head of the FBI, was appointed by Trump after Trump fired James Comey, if you remember that. Christopher Wray, you'd think that he would have been great because Trump appointed him, but in that first term, Trump was, if you remember, a businessman new to the political world. He wasn't a politician, so he depended on politicians to advise him on the kind of people he should appoint. He did a terrible job because most of those that he appointed, Secretary of Treasury was actually pretty good. Secretary of State, different jobs that they had were not loyal to him at all, and they would undermine him. And the head of the FBI was that way. And when he went into Congress, he would not answer questions, would just say, we can't talk about that, it's being investigated and everything. And he did nothing. He didn't fire anybody, even though the FBI caused that Russia collusion thing that went on for 2 years, cost us millions and millions and millions of dollars, and they found out there was nothing there. Trump was accused of that. So he had a hard time as in his first term because of all that crap going on. The FBI was behind it all, and Hillary Clinton was behind it. And they did nothing. I thought they should have gone and cleaned house. Fire these people that were involved in that. That's what you have to do. Those people don't deserve to keep their jobs. They can't say, oh, I was doing what I was told. No, they should have been whistleblowers when they knew they were lying. So I'm glad to see Kash Patel in there. He's not going to put up with any of this crap. You're going to see him. He's going to be firing people. He's going to downsize the FBI in Washington. He's going to push them out across the country to Kansas City and Wyoming, everywhere. That's where the crimes are all over the country. And that's where our people should be, not sitting at desks in Washington, D.C. So that's a whole new way of doing things. Nothing's ever been done to the FBI since J. Edgar Hoover formed it back in the 1920s, I think it was, which would be 100 years ago. So anyway, on the other subjects, the war that Trump is working on, both the Gaza, Israeli war and Ukrainian-Russian war. On the Ukrainian-Russia war, he's had conversations with both Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, and Putin, president of Russia. There's some comments that Trump has made, which I thought were wrong. He's accused Ukraine of starting the war, which was a stupid comment. And I understand now he's backed off on that a bit. But then Zelensky has said that no one told him that Trump was talking to Putin, which was a lie because right after Trump talked to Putin on the phone, he called Zelensky and talked to him. So what Trump is an intermediary, which is something I did. I was an intermediary in business. And you do talk separately to each side until you come up to an agreement, and then they sign contracts or whatever, or sign agreements. So Trump is doing this correctly, and that's his business knowledge. In Gaza, he said, let's go in there and make a resort out of it, kick out all the Palestinians. It's kind of bold when you think about it. It's almost funny. And I think the more you think about it, I think the reason he did it is to say, hey, Egypt, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, this is in your backyard. Why aren't you doing anything about it? If you don't, we're going to take it over. Well, that has worked. They're now talking, and it's kind of scared them. They don't want the United States coming in there, forming another territory that we own and control, and have all the Trump hotels in there. And so anyway, if you want to hear more about that, our national security advisor is named Mike Waltz, W-A-L-T-Z. you can go to YouTube and find a great interview with Megyn Kelly, which took place last night. And he goes through everything that's going on in these wars and explains it very clearly how Trump is handling this. I found it a fascinating interview. And if you stay on that interview, after he's off, she brings in, what's her name, Caroline? The new press secretary, a young lady. She has a great interview with her too. So that was enlightening, I thought. So anyway, that's about it for now. Did I say? Oh, before I forget it, the other good news is Leah Thomas. You remember who she is? That's the dude that beat out Riley Gaines in swimming and caused her to go on a rampage around the country trying to knock out men competing in women's sports. And she went through hell with this. Finally, Trump comes along and says, there's only two genders, which is correct. How can you think of anything else? Men and women, that's it. I always use the story that if someone finds, the cops find a body somewhere, they call in, we found a body, how do you identify it? Well, it's a man, age 22 or something like that. They never say it's a binary, in between, not a male, not a female, but it's a binary type. It's a she or shim, whatever. They don't ever do that. It's either a he or her, a man or a woman. So anyway, Leah Thomas was stripped of all his awards that he got, and they go to others, which include Riley Gaines, excuse me. And I'm just so happy to hear that. And then finally, in that area about men competing in women's sports, Trump was in a meeting with governors yesterday, and he had heard a rumor about Maine, and he said to the Maine governor, well, let me show you what he said to her right here.
But I understand Maine, is Maine here, the governor of Maine?
Yeah, I'm here.
Are you not going to comply with it?
I'm complying with state and federal laws.
We are the federal law. Well, you better do it. You better do it because you're not going to get any federal funding at all if you don't. And by the way, your population, even though it's somewhat liberal, although I did very well there, your population doesn't want men playing in women's sports. So you better comply because otherwise you're not getting any federal funding.
See you in court.
Every state, good, I'll see you in court. I look forward to that. That should be a real easy one. And enjoy your life after governor because I don't think you'll be in elected politics. Every state has a responsibility to comply with Title IX. They have an obligation, a legal obligation, and we'll be enforcing aggressively, and we're going to be protecting our citizens.
There's a word I want to use about her. It starts with a B, letter B, but I won't say it. She will get thrown out of there. The country's going right, and these Democrats just don't get it. They got no message. And I really think that in the two-year election, midterms, which usually the president loses control of the House, I don't think it's going to happen this time. I think they're going to gain more control of the House and the Senate because of the way things are going already. So that's my view. If you have any comments, I would love to hear them. And don't forget, if you could get into YouTube by touching the link in my profile, you can subscribe, which will mean that you're being notified about new podcasts I have. Doesn't mean you're paying anything. Okay, thanks, goodbye, have a nice day.